Good evening, friends, and my dear students. Welcome to the BSc first year class. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about syllabus, some exam pattern, and actually we will start with one paper. Students, in this semester, in BSc first year, you have two semesters, semester first and semester second. In semester first, you have two theory paper. One is mechanics and properties of matter, that is paper 1, and second, mathematical methods in physics, that is paper number 2 in first semester, which having 2 credits for each paper having 50 marks, from which 40 marks exam will be conducted by the university and 10 marks for the internal assessment for same theory paper, for both theory paper. In semester second, also you have 2 theory papers. One is heat and thermodynamics, paper number 3rd, and electricity and magnetism, paper number 4. The same theory pattern, 40 marks university exam, 10 marks internal exam, total marks is 50. Each theory paper having 2 credit, but you have one practical paper annually which having 4 credit. Total marks is 100, in which 80 marks exam will be conducted by the university and 20 marks for the internal assessment. Okay. From semester first, I am going to teach you mathematical methods in physics. In this paper, we have 4 chapters. One is complex variable, another is vector analysis, partial differentiation, and Fourier series, from which we are going to start a vector analysis. Now, what is the importance of mathematics in physics? First of all, we have to understand physics is a mathematical science. Actually, the underlying concepts and principles have a mathematical basis in physics. Throughout the course of our study of physics, we will encounter a variety of concepts that have a mathematical basis associated with them. While our emphasis will often be upon the conceptual nature of physics, we will give considerable and persist attention to its mathematical aspects. Means, by using a mathematical aspects, we are going to clear our physics concepts, or we are going to understand the physics behind that equation. That's why in this semester we have one paper, that is mathematical concepts in physics. If you understand physics, you must have some mathematical background. For that we have to know some mathematical concepts. That mathematical concepts are introduced in our syllabus, that are complex variables, vector analysis, and partial differentiation, Fourier series, that we will discuss in this semester. From today's onwards, we are going to start a unit second, that is vector analysis, because we all know about a scalar quantity and vector quantity, as we studied in 12th standard and 11th standard also. The motion of object can be described by words. Even a person without a background in the physics has a collections of words that can be used to describe the moving object very well. Words and the phrase such as going fast, stopped, slowing down, speeding up, and turn, turning provided sufficient vocabulary for describing the motion of object. But in case of physics, we use these words and many more. We will be expanding upon the vocabulary list with words such as distance, displacement, speed, velocity and acceleration as well soon. As we will soon see, these words are associated with mathematical quantities that have strict definitions. The mathematical questions or the mathematical quantities that are used to describe the motion of object can be divided into two categories. The quantity is either a vector or a scalar. That we have to discuss under this unit second. So without wasting time, we start a vector analysis. Welcome students, my name is Mr. Kadampuretti. I am working as an assistant professor in Department of Physics, Sanjeevani Mahavidyalaya, Chapoli. I will teach a mathematical concepts in physics in first semester. Okay. Now, before starting this mathematical concepts in physics, vector analysis, first we have to understand a scalar quantity and vector quantity. What is meant by scalar quantity and vector quantity? As we know, scalar quantity is the quantity that are fully described by magnitude or a completely numerical value. But when you are talking about the vectors are the quantities that have fully described both magnitude as well as direction. Means we can differentiate a scalar quantity and a vector quantity. How we can differentiate? A scalar quantity is nothing but a quantity which having magnitude or a numerical value, that is it. But if you are talking about the vector quantity, that vector quantity is fully described by both a magnitude as well as a direction. We see some example of scalar quantity and vector quantity. Density is a scalar quantity. Distance is also a scalar quantity. Energy, height, length, mass, speed, temperature, time, volume, width, all these quantities having magnitude only. That's why they belongs to a scalar category. But if you talk about the acceleration means what? The rate of change of velocity with respect to time. Means it having magnitude as well as direction. Displacement is also having direction. Electric field, it also having direction as well as magnitude. Force is nothing but mass into acceleration. Acceleration is a vector quantity. That's why obviously our force is also a vector quantity. Magnetic field, momentum, velocity, weight, all these are the vector quantities which having magnitude as well as direction. Okay. Now, first my aim is to understand a scalar quantity and vector quantity. Which quantities are scalar and which quantities are vector in physics, that we have to know. If one quantity which having magnitude as well as direction, that quantity belongs to a vector. If one quantity having magnitude or only numerical value, it belongs to a scalar category. Now we are able to classify a quantity into a scalar as well as vector. If move forward, if we see the comparison between the scalar and vector, if we differentiate the scalar and vector with the help of definition tells us a scalar is a quantity which having magnitude only. A vector is a quantity which having magnitude as well as direction. Scalar having no direction. In case of vector, yes, there is a direction. a number and a specified by a number and a unit. Specified a number, direction and unit in case of vector. Represented by a quantity symbol in case of scalar. Quantity symbol in a bold or an arrow sign above that, means it indicates that quantity having magnitude as well as direction. Example, mass and temperature having is a scalar quantity, velocity and acceleration is a vector quantity. In this way we can classify or we can differentiate, compare scalar and vector. There are some specific characteristics of vector quantity. They possesses both magnitude as well as direction. That's why we call it as a vector quantity. They do not obey the ordinary law of algebra. What are that? That we will discuss in next slide or in next lecture. This changes if either magnitude or direction or both changes. Means vector quantity will be changed on the basis of direction or magnitude or both. If any one quantity or both quantity can be both specification will be changed, then our vector quantity also change. Now, after classifying scalar and vector or comparing scalar and vector, we will understand some basic laws of vector algebra. The Cartesian coordinate system should be familiar to you for earlier math and physics course, because if you want to locate the location of any object in a space, you have to know a Cartesian. There are so many coordinate system, but we are familiar with Cartesian coordinate system, means that is x, y, z frame, x, y, z coordinate system with origin O. The vector A is readily written in terms of Cartesian coordinate system is ax x prime plus ay y prime plus az z prime, where x prime, y prime and z prime are the basic vectors, each having unit length. That's why it is also called as a basic vector. That is x prime, y prime and z prime are mutually orthogonal. Means what? They are mutually perpendicular to each others, because x axis is perpendicular to the y axis is perpendicular to the z axis, and these basic vectors x prime is lies along x axis, y prime lies along y axis, z prime lies along z axis. That's why they are mutually orthogonal to each others. Also, the length of a vector A is equal to square root of ax square plus ay square plus az square, and a unit vector in the vector A, direction is A prime is equal to a vector A divided by its own magnitude, x prime ax plus y prime ay plus z prime az divided by square root of ax square plus ay square plus az square. There are some basic laws how we can represent a vector quantity in a Cartesian coordinate system. Okay. In next lecture, we will discuss about a vector addition, rectangular resolution of vector, rectangular comparison of a vector in a 3 dimension, how we can represent a vector quantity in 3 dimensions, that we will discuss in next lecture. In today's lecture, we understand what is by scalar quantity, what is by vector quantity, and some basic laws of vector algebra. If you have any doubt related with the syllabus and these 2 topics or these 2 points, then you can ask me. Thank you.